Hi everyone, I'll be talking about stable coins, CPO in USDT marketplace. Our company is working all around the globe, so I kind of touched the topic of all the licenses and how stable coin is actually working all around the globe. But in India, we still have a lot of issues when it comes to regulations, and people are, since we just heard that stable coins are no go in India. So why is it that? And I actually don't want to present anything. I want it to be a very interactive session. Like you can ask me questions, you can interrupt me, you can ask me why is it like that, if this number is not matching or whatever. I want it to be a very interactive session. So, let's start. So stable coins. How many of you actually ever touched stable coins, worked with stable coins, or hold stable coins? Right? So a lot of people actually are already aware of it, so I don't have to tell you what stablecoin is. But basically, right now, can you change? So why stablecoin is actually proliferating, why it's very popular right now and all around the world, because traditional banking system is broken all around the world. It's not like you can send from money from India to US and it will be transmitted like from transacted from here to there in like a minute or seconds. So it takes like 1 to 5 days, 5 to 10% value, intermediaries and all of that, right? So basically, I didn't want to go wrong with the starts. So I have few starts here, but next slide, please. So what traditional payment architecture is? You use UPI, you use bank, you use all that, and in that what you do is you send money from here to there. If you ever worked in forex or anything, it takes like 1 to 5 days living in India. Believe it or not, in Africa it takes minimum 5 days. You know, and people who work there for basically who are very much dependent on everyday payment, SMEs and all of that, they just don't have any option other than stable coins. They don't care if their currency is dollarizing, if the dollarization of the currency is happening or whatever, because this is the only option they have. And this is what actually I want to point out, that just not India. India is in the better position right now because we are like the third, fourth biggest financial, economical country at that stage. I can see the trillions of stable coins, billions of stable coins are actually transacted every day. But yeah, the countries like Africa, Philippines, I have seen from my own eyes, people are hedging, people are storing, investing in stable coins so that the country's government basically what they do is they are very much capital controlling. That's the word. So they can save themselves from inflation and all of that. So next slide, please. In traditional architecture, when you send the money to any bank, it doesn't send money anywhere. It sends message to Swift networks. Swift networks send messages to different intermediaries. Nostro accounts is called, and then it searches for the particular bank account which has liquidity, and that bank sends you the message. So not all the intermediaries are working for free. So you're paying 5 to 10% fee for those intermediaries. And that too, it will settle in like 1 to 5 days. India, India is still preferring this. We have the largest economy of developers. We have largest economy of investors also, but we are still actually preferring this. So why I'm here today is India. But when the crypto first started, it actually revolved around all the volatile assets. But something interesting happened after a few years. When stablecoin came in picture, and a lot of people started getting paid in stablecoins. A lot of people started trading in stablecoins. And after the Genius Act, if you know, US started a Genius Act, which actually streamlined the stable coins in their economy. It, the volume of the transaction shifted in 1 year to $30 trillion per year. So, well, if you don't believe in it, it's not gonna go away. It's like you are gonna be just fading away. But the thing is, it's actually happening all around the world. Countries are standardizing. They have Europe has MICA, and Singapore has their own act. Japan has their own act. So the thing is, it's slowly becoming a utility layer of the crypto. So yeah, so like this scale is basically unavoidable, and yeah, we should pay more attention to it. One more thing, basically, 30 is also a small number. $33 trillion per year is the volume of stable coins in the transaction in 1 year actually. And Visa has $15 trillion and MasterCard has $9 trillion. So it's already trumping all the transaction all around the world. Now, the question, change please. The question is why India is not still adopting. India is not adopting it right now because of the infrastructure. So you all are using UPI, it's so easy to use, we are so much deep-rooted, deep-seated in our payment methods, right? Countries are, including India, we are doing, you know, we are launching CBDCs, Central Bank Digital Currency, which is e-Rupiah. Why is it still struggling? Why is it not used as we are using it? Because even me I started as a developer, so I'm very much deep-rooted in Web3. I had to go and learn, install their wallet, all of that. Your parents are not going to do that, but they can definitely do UPI. So the first problem is the rails. We don't have rails, which is going to abstract the stablecoin usage, which like you don't have to see how things are working out and do this, do that. You can just see INR in your wallet as an endpoint, and it will also save you from the dollarization of the currency. So this is basically happening in all around the world. PayPal is using it. People are doing trading because it's 24/7 online, and it's like in minutes and seconds. But in India, we are still struggling with the skepticism that it will kind of crash our economy or dollarize our fiat. But we are not finding solutions. So right now, being the economy, which is the largest one right now, and which made something as like UPI. UPI is doing 10 billion plus transaction every day. So if any of you, if you are developers, if you are founders, if any of you made something which like crypto cards or something like that, where it's as easy to use USDT, USDC as your UPI, and the endpoint is INR, then it's not going to, you don't have to teach the whole billion people how to use stable coins. More than 300 million people in India are actually have stable coins. They transact in stable coins. We do remittances. We have on-ramp, off-ramp. We have treasury management, but we still don't have rails. So, like, my talk is completely revolving around how we are going to solve the problem, what are the problems you faced. And since I just wanted to present a few points, now please ask me any questions if you have. Yes?
One of the questions I had, I know you mentioned that India is having like UPI and like infrastructure that already exists, and you want to integrate that. Have you guys explored like a rupee digital coin that would integrate directly into that?
Yeah, so basically I explored Ethiopia personally. My company is situated in 12 plus countries. We are doing all on-ramp, off-ramp, remittances and everything, and working with the CBDCs of other countries and everything. I've seen in India the least adoption right now is with e-Rupia. Only people on Binance doing P2P, and I think only people doing P2P are actually using e-Rupia because they are very much deep-rooted. They know how to do it. And this is what I pointed out. Like we don't have rails, we don't have infra. Infra where the endpoint is INR and you start with USDT. You don't have to. When then once I talked to this official, government official, and this person told me that we are very much worried about dollarization of INR. Well, this will happen if the endpoint is also USDT. Like you are completely replacing INR from the ecosystem, then this will definitely happen. But this is not what I'm pointing here. Like the proper rails should be there so that people can use it. We don't have to train millions of people every day how to use it. This is what I'm pointing out. Actually, there are a lot of standards which are in trial right now with our government also. We are in India. It's very early for stable coins when all around the world it's already happening. Just because we are very careful about dollarization of INR, and that's why we were working with CBDCs, which is launched by RBI. It's still there, but they are still trying to find out how to integrate it with the traditional ecosystem, right? Come on, please. You must have some questions. Okay. Okay, I think I have covered all the topics around stablecoins. And if you are developers, if you are government officials, please look into it. We are the third largest economy in the world, and since it's moving trillions all around the globe, we should not be left behind. Thank you so much.